So I'm sitting on the couch about to take in a plate of meat next to Lucian when I saw this. Did you see that? Aki actually smiled in Chainsaw Man. It got me so excited, I want to make this entire Chainsaw Man feast today. And the first thing we're making is toast. And there's breakfast. He actually never owned a toaster, so technically this is breakfast. If you would like to see full Denji toast video or make all the jams, that one's down below. I already made that. So now we can actually start making lunch, because dinner, I'm gonna need like 5 or 6 hours to finish dinner. Now for lunch, this is a very special lunch slash breakfast because it's so late in the day already. This could be breakfast or lunch. This is what I think Himino made for Denji after the fatal moment. If you've been watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We're gonna be boiling 8 whole eggs. No, one of them broke. RIP. Ice water, super important so they're easier to peel later, and we stop the cooking process, right? Now there's one other thing I'm gonna be adding to these eggs, and that's gonna be some fresh green onions. Remember to save the ends for some stock if you need it. We have our green onions, we have our mayo, we have our eggs working. Only 2 other things we need. I have some leaf lettuce, this is red leaf lettuce, and some cherry tomatoes, but feel free to use regular tomatoes and whatever lettuce you got, or just don't use lettuce. I'm doing this because I also needed cherry tomatoes for the dinner we're gonna be having later. Leaf lettuce, I'm just gonna trim the ends off a bit, just get rid of the hard rib. Now we had 2 sacrifices? Oh man, that's fine. This is for egg salad sandwiches, so it'll be okay. These need to sit in here, honestly, for like 20 or 30 minutes. After 20 or 30 minutes and all that ice has fully melted, drain out all of that water and start peeling all of these eggs. You're gonna be using all of them, so just make sure you do peel them back. I like to cut my eggs in half and make sure I remove the yolk from the egg white. I place the egg yolks and the egg whites in separate bowls because I like to dress my egg yolks first. Into the bowl with the egg yolks, I'm placing in around 3 tablespoons worth of Kewpie mayo and 2 giant spoonfuls of chili crunch. This is what it looks like when it's done. Then I'm going to take all of my egg whites and I'm going to rough chop this on the cutting board. You can also use a fork to break these down, but I find the knife to be easier. Bring these 2 together, mix them well, add a splash of lemon juice, a bunch of the green onions, dress it with your lettuce and tomato, put a cutting board on top of it for about 5 minutes. These have rested for about 5 minutes and I am ready to dig into each of these. These are going to be so nice. Oh, look at that sandwich. Oh, it even smells amazing. Cheers. Oh my God. It's creamy, slightly spicy, slightly tangy, a little bit of salt. You get some crunch from the veggies. This is a 10 out of 10 in my book. You should make this. It's finally time to make dinner, and I felt like this was very fitting, but like in hindsight, this is actually a mistake because it's all white. Not good. It's only fitting that I actually own like 8 aprons that I never wear. Now, if you are a fellow manga enjoyer, you might know what this last meal really is. That I just gave it all away, didn't I? The meal I'm actually going to be making is at the end of episode 12. I've dissected this scene frame by frame, and I'm going to make 80% of what's in this. First, I'm going to be making some chicken yakitori skewers. This is just some chicken thigh that I'm going to dice up. Once I have all my chicken thigh ready and cut up, this is when we get to make our marinade. Marinade is super simple, just 1 or 2 tablespoons worth of sugar, depending on whether or not you want this overly sweet. A nice splash of mirin. This is just a bit of rice cooking vinegar. Cooking wine, not vinegar. This is the vinegar. Splash of rice wine vinegar, about a 1/4 cup worth of soy sauce, and then like a 1/4 cup of water. Give us a quick stir, pour all that good right on top, poke it around a little bit, make it happy. And then this is gonna sit for just about an hour, however long it takes to make everything else really. Gandalf, I don't wanna hear it. I don't wanna hear it. Nope, can't have dinner yet. Next is this giant platter of gyoza that they seem to all be really enjoying. In this bowl, I have around 1 pound worth of ground pork. To this, a bit of chili flake. Then I have grated garlic right over here and grated ginger. This is really important. You gotta have those 2 aromatics in there. Then white sesame seeds, then hoisin sauce. I love hoisin because it adds a nice sweetness to it. Remember those green onions I chopped up earlier? Yep. We're using some of those. I also need a nice hefty pinch of salt. We're gonna do like a tablespoon of salt and then cracked black pepper. Give this a nice mix, making sure that all of those flavors are fully incorporated so you don't have any weird pockets of like garlic or the ginger or anything like that. Now, once you have this mostly mixed together, this is when I like to really just get in there with your hands and make sure that everything is fully combined. This is ready to be stuffed into the gyoza. Now for these gyozas, I absolutely did purchase gyoza skins or just gyoza wrappers. How many can we make it? No. Don't slap me with this. I will hit you with one. I got a whole disc. Be gone. But nothing ever gets done in this kitchen. Try to line these up as best as you can. I'm using a portion scoop just to make my life easier, but feel free to just use a spoon. Fold, pinch. Once all the wrappers are loaded with pork, we're gonna do the same thing and go around and make sure everything is nice and wet to make sure it's all sealed. After I fill my gyoza, I make sure that I fold it over. Then we're gonna do the fork crimp just because yes, it is a lot easier and it is a lot faster. But look at how many gyoza we have for this feast. We gotta cover this with plastic though so it doesn't dry out. And now we gotta get to work on sushi. So for this sushi, I actually have quite a few things ready, but I still need to make the rice. The rice I started a little while ago and that's ready to go. We just have to make the sushi vinegar now. I have about a little over like 1/3 of a cup of rice wine vinegar along with around 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just gonna throw this in the microwave. I threw that in for just 30 seconds to make sure I can get the sugar to dissolve. Now I'm gonna get all of my rice. Then once this vinegar is nice and warm, give this a stir, dissolve all that sugar in there. I like a little shot of mirin in mine, just a little bit. It gives it a nice flavor. So now I'm gonna take my paddle, I'm gonna use the back of the paddle and we're going to just slowly drizzle some of this over it. And putting it over the back of the paddle does help spread out this a bit more evenly. And then you start cutting the rice. What I mean by that is you take your paddle, right? You angle it and you start cutting the vinegar into the rice. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this. Yeah, make sure that you kind of bring all the stuff that may have been on the bottom to the top so it cools down evenly. Then I'm going to basically scoop all of this to one side, just so this way it doesn't dry out. Take a clean towel and get it slightly wet. We're gonna drape this right over the top so this way the rice doesn't dry out. Then this is ready to sit. I'm gonna flip this again in like 10 minutes just to make sure that the rice doesn't stay too warm at any one spot. This can sit over here. Now we get to do the toppings and the fillings, and those are actually pretty simple. We got Spam. Yes, absolutely using Spam. Don't judge me for this low sodium one, okay? We're gonna do some nice thick slices. We'll do 7. Now I do have to sear off this Spam. We're not gonna do this raw. To sear the Spam, we're just gonna place this on a nice flat griddle that I have over here, and we're gonna sear each side for, I don't know, 3 to 4 minutes to call it a day. Place this onto our same plate. Look at that, delicious. Next up, after the Spam, is some imitation crab. You can absolutely use real crab, but I don't have a bunch of money for this. These I'm gonna be using for some rolls, but these just like shred apart. I'm gonna cut this first. A little bit easier to work with now. Once I have all of my crab shredded, this is when really you can flavor it with whatever you want. I like to, this is probably sacrilege, I like to think of this as like you're making tuna salad. So in this case, we're gonna be starting it off with base of mayo. Add sriracha. Green onions, why I made so many earlier. Oh, that actually looks really good to me. Now, for the real fish. For the sushi, I have some really nice tuna and some really nice king salmon. Do some nice slices with, oh God, I love this knife. I'm still not great at gauging how thick my fish should be, but I feel like that's pretty good. Cutting this on an angle like this as well helps you have a greater surface for when you go to actually put your rice underneath it. If you were to cut it just straight down, you wouldn't have a nice surface for your fish. Tuna is done, let's work on the salmon. Doing the same thing with these. Gandalf, do you want your chair? He's smelling stuff. As soon as the fish comes out, man. This is what you guys wanted. You keep saying, make Gandalf food. You see, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's gonna take that whole piece of salmon. Let's get some for Lucian too. Let's see if he wants some. Whoa, look, Gandalf. He was too excited and now there's fish on the floor. I have myself a bit of nori down here. We're gonna make the rolls first. We're gonna take a giant thing of our rice. Gonna press it right into the top. Make sure your hands stay wet so they don't stick to anything. And then we're going to drag the rice down. We're trying to get a nice even layer, but also not too much rice. Now this maki roll is going to be getting the imitation crab meat. Once I have my crab on there, this is when I'm gonna take the bottom of my nori, going to press up and then gently press in with the seaweed. And then I'm gonna roll it. Give this a nice press. Let's see what this looks like. That's not too bad. It's a little heavy on the rice, but that's okay. I'm gonna cut this into 4 even pieces. We're gonna leave it at 1 maki roll because I feel like we're not gonna eat as many of those as the other stuff, and I have enough rice for the other stuff. Should we just do big chonky Spam? I think we should do chonky Spam. We're gonna take the giant thing of Spam. It did cool down a bit, so I'm gonna press it into this. Then one of our strips of seaweed.
No, I have rice.
I know, I don't want it to have a lot of rice. Otherwise it'd be like the whole thing would be rice. I don't want it to be. It's a pretty nice platter so far. I transferred some of this stuff over to a different platter because I like the way that looks a bit better. Then everything else is going onto this guy. Now we're gonna blitz through the rest of this fish. There's our beautiful salmon and tuna platter. Now there is some dead space in here. I'm gonna fill that out right before we serve it. We have chicken and gyoza we still have to make. I actually almost forgot to do ikura, the fish roe. They definitely had some of this on their platter. I'm glad I remembered because that is not cheap and I don't want it to go to waste. This one's prepared a little bit differently, but I'm gonna start off with just a bit of my rice again. And once it's pressed, you roll it in your seaweed. You wanna make sure there's like a little cavity for the fish roe. Take a little bit of your rice that's on your finger, place it onto the seaweed, press, and it'll kind of help it have it all stick together. And then this is going to get filled with the fish roe. And then we can actually fill out this platter a little bit. Now I can do the chicken. So take our chicken, skewer that sucker. We're gonna do pretend yakitori. That's it. One giant skewer. We're just gonna cook off all of this chicken. Honestly, I think at this point, this is more just novelty than anything else because it's not preventing it from falling into anything. I realize this. And while that's going, we gotta start the gyoza. For the gyoza, I'm actually gonna be searing them and steaming them. So I'm gonna take my nice like deep pot that I have right here, a deep pan, adding good amount of oil at the bottom so this way they get nice and crispy. And I'm more than likely gonna have to do this in batches because this is how much gyoza we have, right? There's a lot. Throw these in here. Make sure to not overcrowd them either. I'm gonna drizzle a little more oil right on top and immediately I'm gonna throw in some water. Throw a lid on them. That lid kind of fits. We're gonna let this steam for like 10, maybe 12 minutes. After those 10 or 12 minutes, the gyoza should be ready to go. The best way to do this to make sure that they are cooked is just probe the inside and make sure they're 165, but these look really, really good. There's the first round. Round 2, let's do it. My timer for the chicken just went off and these gyozas are also almost done. Oh yeah, chicken's ready. Look at that chicken, huh? Looks exactly like it did in the anime. I don't know what you're talking about.
Usotsuki.
Chicken, done. Let's get the gyoza. Get everything, let's just get everything. Sushi platters, cooked sushi. I got some sides for the sushi over here. They had like a salad thing going on. I don't know why. A little bit of soy sauce for the sushi side. And then my favorite, suyu, ready to go for the gyoza. Chainsaw Man food for 24 hours. This has been a long day. This is a Chainsaw Man feast all day. I'm gonna eat. Gandalf, you can have the lettuce. I don't care if you eat the lettuce, to be honest.
Damn.
The fish is delicious. It's nice and fresh. I'm gonna try the gyoza. A little bit of the suyu. Oh my God, Gandalf, this is ridiculous, sir. Gyoza, amazing. Maki roll. Oh, a little bit of chicken. It's all just really good. I don't know what to tell you, but I've also been cooking way too long, so everything tastes amazing. I'm done. I'm just gonna eat all of this. If you're not by my, do you guys want food?
Yeah.
Yeah? I have people here. Get subscribed so we can get that food truck at 1 million subscribers. My name is Chef PK, and remember, keep playing with your food. All right, come eat, I'm done with this. Just eat everything. That's Gandalf's chair. It's so good. It's just fatty rice, basically.
Excuse me while I hold Gandalf back.
This is what the video you really need.
The video nobody wanted, but they need.
Did you fuzz out of my sushi?